So my name is Lucy. I sit within the in-house team at MRI Search, and I generally focus on placing lawyers of all levels within tech businesses, and more specifically within startups and scale. They look for lawyers that can be very pragmatic, that can work with the business and understand the strategy and be a bit more commercial in the way that they operate. I also think that most in-house teams, especially within tech, they work very closely with the business. So being more integrated and getting rid of some of the legal jargon is really beneficial too. No, I think most tech companies are quite fluid in terms of sector experience. We've had competition councils become tech GCs. So I think that if you have that kind of personality and if you're interested in the area, then there's always a way in. I also think that especially within the startup space, there is an inability to have always done something before or been in a very similar business before anyway, in the sense that in 2018 there wasn't any data privacy lawyers that had 10 years experience, and there aren't any lawyers that have AI focused experience now. So I think that there's always a way in if it's something you're interested in. So the startup space in the UK is currently worth about $1 trillion, which puts us as the third largest startup economy globally. Having said that, I think the tech space within that is struggling a little bit. There's a general lack of corporate transactions. There's a hesitancy to IPO, a hesitancy in terms of funding rounds as well. So a lot of companies are looking to move out of the UK and not IPO in London. Having said that, in this landscape where funding is quite scarce, there are general counsels that are doing more with less, which means from a recruitment perspective and from a roles perspective, we're seeing really interesting opportunities for general counsels where they can grow into COO roles, into heads of people, even finance and quasi kind of business development and sales leads. So even though it's a quieter space at the moment, it poses a really interesting trajectory for lawyers within these types of businesses. Most in-house legal teams at the moment aren't growing, even if they're businesses. I think there's an expectation for in-house lawyers to do more with less. It is quite interesting at the moment because especially within the tech space, more in-house teams are implementing technology and AI and automating some of the lower level tasks and upskilling in terms of becoming data literate and being more efficient from that perspective. So even though they're not growing in terms of headcount or necessarily outsourcing more work, they are adding more value and growing more in terms of what they offer the business. I think we're experiencing a steady flow of roles, both in terms of replacement and growth roles. I would say that the market generally isn't particularly quiet, but it's also not exceptionally booming. Most of the roles that we're seeing are somewhere between the 5 to 7 PQE mark, which is quite consistent in terms of both moves from private practice and moves laterally within companies, and it's also quite consistent with other sectors too. Due to the natural seniority of general counsels, there's always less movement because there's fewer roles available in the market, but sometimes it goes against the grain in the sense that it's not a resource that can be found in a different area of the business. So if a company needs to hire a general counsel, they will hire a general counsel. On the other hand, it is quite a costly role within the business. So we're seeing slower market at the moment, but it won't stay that way for long.